Hello and welcome to another bookshelf tour. Today we are going to be going through all of the books that are currently on this bookshelf right here, just this one shelf behind me. First we did the pink books. Last month we did the one down here with the yellow and orange books. And then today we are going to be looking at this shelf, which has my kind of like gray slash foiled gold foiled edged books, and then it starts going into some of my red ones. There's definitely going to be a lot of books on this shelf that I haven't read, mainly because I do have my stack of vintage books over here that are also on the shelf, and I haven't really read a lot of them. So yeah, this shelf is going to be probably the worst so far of the three as far as the ratio of books I have read to haven't read. Before we start, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a more in focus look at the books that we're going to be going through today. I will be showing you which ones I have read, which ones I haven't read, which ones I didn't like, and then I'll let you know which ones I'm thinking about prioritizing and reading and adding onto my TBR for the month of March. I'll start with this one right on the top, which is actually one of my newest purchases, so no, I have not read this one yet, and that is Dear Miss Metropolitan by Carolyn Farrell. I love the cover on this book. This one I believe is like a contemporary mystery or thriller book. I'm not completely sure. I know that the first page has this map, and I know it has something to do with these I think like three women who are kidnapped. Then we'll just start on this end and work our way over. So first we have Art Boss by Kayla Kagan. This one is a young adult contemporary book. I remember reading this one and really enjoying it. I believe we're following our main character who she's going on a journey to art school, moving away from her family and stuff, and the experience not being everything exactly how she imagined that it would be. I also have the sequel to this somewhere else on my shelves. And we have a non-fiction book, a very chunky one here, and that is The Story of Art by E.H. Gombrich. I think I started reading this book once before. It's just so, yeah, I actually have, oh, this is a really cute bookmark that I left in here. I got to page 83, so I actually made a pretty good dent in it. I don't know, I must have just set it down and then never came back to it. This book, I remember it's written in a way that's very understandable. It makes art very accessible. If you're someone who's into art and the history of it, it's one I recommend, even though I haven't even finished reading it myself. I do hope to plan to eventually when I'm in the mood for a nonfiction book like this. We have another nonfiction book. This one is a narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass, an American slave. This book is published by Penguin. It's their Penguin Vitae collection. I believe they sent this one to me. I think these ones are really nice editions. I can't remember or not if I have read his book before, but I'm just going to include it as one I haven't, because if I have, it's a long time ago and I don't remember it. So this is definitely one I'd like to get to. Next we have Paint It Black by Janet Fitch. I really love Janet Fitch's writing. I have read this book multiple times. It's definitely a favorite, even though of course, like now that I'm trying to remember, I don't remember exactly what this book was about. I read this multiple times when I was probably in like high school, so over 10 years ago, but I would love to reread it again in the future. I just really enjoy Janet Fitch's books. I wish she has written more books or would be coming out with one soon. I think she just has one that I haven't read yet. It's the sequel to The Revolution of Marina M, I believe is what it's called, which I had enjoyed, but it's probably one of my ones I liked least from her. Next we have a book which is actually a bind up of 4 different books, but I'm just going to call it as one for the sake that it is all one bind up. And that is the Giver Quartet from Lois Lowry. It has The Giver, Gathering Blue, Messenger, and Sun. I have read The Giver a whole bunch of times. It was part of my required reading in school at some point, but then I also read it. I don't know why I never continued on with the series though, because I know I did enjoy that book. It was one of those books that I always reread when I was younger. So eventually I would like to continue on and read the rest of this series. I'm not starting any new book series right now, but probably this year when I have room to fit a little bit more book series into my reading schedule, I would love to actually complete this whole quartet. Next, we have a group of books I will talk about all together because they're part of the same series. Actually, I'm storing them currently without their dust jackets on my shelf because they are just too beautiful to not display with them on. And then this one has orange sprayed edges because I believe it was like the Waterstones exclusive edition. And what these books are the Nevermore series. It's a middle grade series by the author Jessica Townsend. So far, I have read the first two, which would be Nevermore and then Wondersmith. And I have not yet gotten to the third one, which the title on this one was Hollowpox. And this one was actually signed by the author. I forgot that this is a signed special edition. But the reason I haven't continued on with the series yet is because I heard that it's actually going to be quite a few books in the series. So in order so I don't forget everything that's happening in the previous books, I kind of want to wait to read them until it's either about to be done or is done. Because I think last I heard this was supposed to be like 6 or 7 books. So that means it's going to be a few more years before the series is complete, and I don't want to have to be waiting every year. So for now, I'm not really prioritizing reading this series, but I think there is one more book that's out that I don't own yet. It's part of the series. And then in case you were wondering, I stored the dust jackets behind them, and this is what the original outside dust jackets look like, which they are definitely nice too, but I just love the naked hardcovers better. Then we have another series of books which are not technically a series, but they're all by the same author, and I love when authors or publishers do this, when they make an author's books kind of all cohesive even though they aren't part of the same series. Like they'll have the same dust jacket or like cover design and stuff. And so these are Laura Wood's books. I so far have read one of hers only. It's the Sky Painted Gold, and this one takes place in the 20s, and I just love the writing on this one, and I'm really looking forward to reading other books by hers. So the other ones I have are Under a Dancing Star and A Snowfall of Silver. I've kind of been putting them off because I did like the first one so much that I don't want to be disappointed and maybe not like the other two as much, but I think this month we might figure out. I know this one takes place in the 30s, and so does this one as well. So it seems like the author has a kind of sweet spot for time periods that she likes to write in. Next, we have The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. I read this book when it came out back in 2020, and I remember I really enjoyed it, but it has been a while, so not a lot I feel like has really stuck with me over the time. So it's something I probably would like to reread in the future to see if I do want to keep it on my shelves. I think I gave it 4 stars at the time. This book, it took place in the 50s and the 60s from the deep south to California, following 2 twins who I believe one of them they're both black, but one of them lives her life passing. And we have a nonfiction memoir, and that is More Myself by Alicia Keys. I remember really enjoying this one, and this one is just a memoir of her and her journey into becoming the artist that she is today. And we have the collector's edition of The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, a book I definitely enjoyed reading, even though it does deal with some harder topics. I believe this was the first Angie Thomas book that I have read, and I have loved all of the books that she has come out with so far. I do own all of them. I think it's on the come up, has a similar collector's edition like this, but it's in silver. Eventually I'll get that one. But yeah, The Hate You Give is a highly recommended from me to you guys young adult book to read if you haven't yet. And I also watched the movie adaptation of this, and it makes me cry every time I watch it. Next, we have a book that I have not read, and that is The Court of Miracles by Kester Grant. This one is actually the first book in a series, so that's why I haven't read it yet, because I don't think the second one has come out yet. So I don't want to finish this one, really like it, and then not be able to continue on with the series. I mean, maybe I'll read it and I don't even like it and don't want to continue on, but I just want to leave the possibility open that I do like it and want to continue on. This one, from what I remember, was a fantasy book, and it's supposed to be similar to Les Mis, and that is taking place, I believe, around like the French Revolution. Next, we have another beautiful book, and this one is Alchemy and Rose by Sarah Maine. This one I purchased from Waterstones, and it has these nice blue sprayed edges on the side. This one is a historical fiction book. It takes place in 1866. This one has to do around the topic of the gold rush. I have not read this one yet, but I think it is one I want to prioritize for this upcoming month that I'm going to be reading it in. So we have 2 Penguin books, and they're by the same author and have similar cover designs, and they're both by George Orwell. That is Animal Farm and 1984. These are 2 classics that I have read, but it has been a long time, so hopefully in the future I would definitely like to reread both of these classics. Now on to my vintage collection books. I love the cover designs on all of these. So they all have the same red edge or red spine, And I think I have a, okay, so I know I've read a few of these, and I don't remember exactly which ones. If I had to guess, I think it was, I think I actually did read The Invisible Man recently. I'm gonna have to go back and look at my Goodreads to remember for sure, because on a couple of these if I have read them or not. Like, I know I read The War of the Worlds, not this edition, but I specifically read War of the Worlds when I was younger. So I kind of, some of these classics, since they're classics that I read when I was younger, I don't remember them as well, and so I'm just counting them as I haven't read them, and I will eventually read them. But they aren't like super high on my priority list right now. But I am not allowing myself to buy any more vintage editions of classic editions of books until I've read these ones, because it wouldn't really make sense for me to keep buying them when I haven't really been prioritizing them. Then there are so many that I could own, because Vintage has published probably like close to 100, if I had to guess, editions of these books. I never plan to own all of them, but I would like to always have like a nice stack of them on my shelves. I am not going to go into the plots or synopsises of these books. I will show you the covers, the author and title, and then if you guys want to look them up to find out more about what they're about. So this video is not way too long, and especially because some of these I don't remember now that I've had them so long. First we have The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. The Invisible Man, also by H.G. Wells. Another one by H.G. Wells. I think this is actually no, I have two more by him. We have The Island of Dr. Moreau and The Time Machine, right? And I love how all of these four ones have very similar cover designs, which is pretty cool. I do like reading science fiction books, so I feel like of the ones in this stack, I think I have read those ones, or at least a couple of those ones. Now, I know for sure I haven't read any of these other ones. So first we have Ovid, The Art of Love, which this one is poetry book. And we have The Lost Horizon by James Hilton, The Sailor Who Fell from Grace with the Sea by Yukio Mishima, All Passions Spent by Vita Sackville-West, Absalom by William Faulkner, The French Lieutenant's Woman by John Fowles, and lastly, by the same author, The Collector by John Fowles. If you guys have read any of these classics specifically, let me know your thoughts on them, because I don't really have any idea yet which ones I want to prioritize and read first. Now on to the last couple of books on these shelves. First off, we have one I haven't read that I know I'll be prioritizing, and that is Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. I really love this edition. I definitely have a sweet spot for books that are beautiful without a dust jacket on, and this one was not sold with a dust jacket. This is how it was. So I wish publishers would publish more books like this, because I really just love the design. This book is about William Shakespeare's son, I believe, and I've heard a lot of good things about this book, so I need to read it for myself and see if it lives up to the hype or not. Then we have one I have read and loved and was one of my favorite, especially young adult books, and that is Dear Martin by Nick Stone. I've read this book 2 or 3 times by now. I think it's 2 times, and I gave it 5 stars both times. I really enjoyed this book, and this book is one of the few books I've read that makes me like actually tear up and emotional when I read this book, so I would highly, highly recommend. And then lastly, we have a nonfiction I have not read, and that is We Wish to Inform You That Tomorrow We Will Be Killed with Our Families, Stories from Rwanda by Philip Gorovich. This book I have had on my shelves a long time. I just never felt ready to read it, because I do know the topic of the Rwandan genocide and stuff is a very deep, hard topic to read about, and eventually when I'm ready I will go ahead and read this book, but it's not really a top priority for next month for me, because I just know that the subject matter is going to be very sad. So those are all the books that were currently living on this shelf. I'm going to go ahead and put them all back now. So altogether, I have currently on this shelf 33 books. Of the 33, there are, I think, about 22 that I have not read. I could be a little bit off depending on if counting the vintage ones or not, but yeah, that's a lot of books unread on this shelf. I have pulled 6 of them that I'm going to prioritize for reading in the month of March, and hopefully I will get to these ones. If you want to see what 6 books I have pulled out, you may be able to figure it out from the ones I've already talked about during the whole course of this video, but if not, then go ahead and subscribe, because I will be posting my March TBR very, very soon, and I will be showing you guys in that video which books I will be prioritizing for reading in the month of March. I hope you enjoyed getting to look at this shelf on my bookshelves. I'll go ahead and leave the link down below with the playlist. Well, I'll go ahead and leave the link to the playlist with the other 2 videos in this series so far. And so I'm trying to figure out which one I'm going to do for the month of April. I think I'm going to just continue on with the other side of this shelf and continue on with the rest of the red kind of orangey books. And then after that, I have no idea. Maybe one of these months I will have you guys choose which shelf you would like me to do next, because I do have quite a few more to get through still. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!